She slid into the back seat wearing red gloves and said one thing. Don't stop. No address. No small talk. If I touched the brake, we were done. 7th Avenue hummed under us, bus wheezing past, pharmacy neon smearing green across my glass. A little steam lifted from a grate, caught the taillight red, curled away. She sat with her knees angled to the far door, as if the cab itself was a stranger. I tried, uptown, downtown. Nothing. Then, after a pause, straight. I'll tell you when to turn. Her eyes didn't touch me. They didn't touch the street either. They locked on the meter, those dull green digits reflecting in her pupils like she was tracking a countdown. We hit busted asphalt. The subway rattled hollow beneath. Her head dipped slightly, then rose back to the meter. Her perfume was faint, powder folded over old fabric, like the back closet of a theater. The gloves lay bright in her lap, fingers tightening just enough to creak the leather. Light went yellow. I slowed. She leaned forward, breath brushing the glass. I said, "Don't stop." So I rolled through. The city held its breath with me. A laundromat glowed ahead, dryer spinning. A kid in a hoodie stared at his sneakers. Lights flickered once, snapped steady. Her eyes flicked that way, then back to the meter. And just when the night felt empty again, a white delivery then slid up alongside. Match my speed. Her body shifted hard to the opposite window. Seconds later, the van turned off. She exhaled, not relief, more like she'd reset her clock. I kept my hand steady, but that first flash in the mirror hadn't left me. The van was gone, but the air in the cab felt crowded. My tires hummed a steady note, the kind that makes silence louder. She sat still, eyes locked on the digits. A circle of streetlight opened ahead. As we slid under it, her gloves caught the glow, shining wet, though the night was bone dry. My eyes flicked to the rear view, another burst of light. Quick, precise. Not headlights, not neon. A camera flash where no camera should have been. I tightened my grip on the wheel. The street behind us was empty, just trash bags slumped in the gutter, shifting like they had their own breath. You see that? I asked. She didn't move, didn't blink. Her gaze stayed fixed on the meter, like it was the only clock that mattered. At the next corner, she finally spoke. Left. I hit the signal. She snapped. No signal. So I killed it mid-click, eased us into the turn. The block closed in tighter. Smell shifted, wet metal, loading docks. A generator thumped behind brick walls, keeping its own beat. A cat darted across, tail up like a flag. She followed it with her eyes, then dropped them back to the green digits. You avoiding someone? I asked, just to hear something human. Her reflection in the glass was pale, shapeless. No reply. We passed a diner, chairs stacked upside down on tables. Neon buzzed, but one tube was dead, so the sign just read in yellow. My lights caught shrink wrap on a stack of napkin boxes, flashing its silver before the dark swallowed us again. Another left, she said. Her voice cracked sharper than before. I took it. Tires hissed on wet asphalt. A horn sounded twice somewhere far off. Long, low, too measured to be traffic. Her jaw twitched. Straight. The block ahead had no streetlights. My beams found only closed gates and damp cardboard slumping by the curb. A hum floated down from above, maybe a dying transformer. Halfway through, a figure stood at the next corner, still, tall, head tilted like it was listening. Her voice came fast, almost breaking. Keep going. Don't slow. I didn't. Crossed the intersection without losing speed. Checked the mirror. Another flash, sharp, white, perfect, lit her face for half a heartbeat. It caught the cut of her cheekbone, a glint at her throat. My neck prickled cold. You sure you don't see that? I muttered. Nothing. She sat fixed, eyes on the meter, counting down to something only she knew. We rolled out onto a wider avenue. Only one crooked car parked against the curb. For a second, I thought we'd cleared it, until the laundromat ahead strobed like someone yanked the breaker. All the lights inside flicked white, then black, then steady again. Her gloved hand shifted on the strap of her bag. Leather creaked. My mouth was dry. Wool buzzed under my palms from bad patchwork asphalt. I checked the dash clock. 10 minutes had vanished somewhere. You mind telling me where this ends? I asked. She didn't look up. You'll know when we get there. We hit a red. My foot started to ease the brake. Her eyes snapped to mine in the mirror. Don't. So I rolled through, scanning cross streets for headlights. None came. Just the hollow echo of our tires. Somewhere behind, a car door slammed. Far, but loud enough to fold into the night. She stiffened, shoulders locked. I didn't check the mirror. We passed a church with a fractured bell tower, pigeons huddled along its spine. A passing car's headlights lit stained glass for a blink. Color shards flared across the asphalt. Her eyes flicked toward it, sharp, like recognition. Then back to the meter. Next light, another figure. Only now it wasn't alone. A second one stood half in shadow, as if peeled from the wall itself. Her jaw moved once, tight. Straight, she said, words clipped between breaths. The street narrowed, delivery doors and dumpsters lining both sides. My headlights splintered puddles into silver shards. Above, an AC unit hummed a lazy, uneven drone. She kept glancing at the side mirror, every few seconds, quick and sharp, like she was trying to catch someone mid-step. You know them? I asked. Her gloves tightened, leather squealing soft. No answer. Half a block on, she leaned forward sudden. Right here, turn right. The air changed on that street. Tar, wet brick, metallic tang of subway pipes. She sat straighter, eyes flicking between glass and meter, posture wired. We slid under a lone working street lamp. Light caught her face, eyes like glass, mouth set thin. And then another burst lit the mirror. This time I saw her flinch. You still think we're alone? I asked, voice low. Her exhale came long, sharp through her nose. Keep driving. 2 blocks on, the city went hollow. No sirens, no stray cars, just our tires picking up every crack in the road. Each jolt climbed into my arms through the wheel. She had me cut an intersection without signaling. The cross street swallowed my headlights after 20 feet, dark enough to erase itself. A man leaned on a lamppost, head bent over a phone. He never looked up as we passed, but the itch between my shoulders sharpened. Her gaze lingered on him, then dropped to the meter again. That obsession was starting to bother me more than the shadows outside. You counting time or money? I asked. Her mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Neither. We drifted into a block lined with loading docks. No curbs, just concrete mouths. A wrap bolted across, shadows stretching thin in my beams. She didn't blink. Then the bridge rose ahead, steel ribs lifting into black sky. Take it, she said. I steered us up the incline. Wind funneled through supports, rattling my door. Cables hummed with the engine, almost in tune. Halfway across, my side mirror flickered, a pale reflection moving when we moved, gone when I tried to focus. My pulse ticked fast. Her body shifted toward the door, eyes still locked between meter and glass. The red gloves trembled, tiny movements she didn't notice. You're shaking, I said. Her voice stayed level. It'll stop when we're there. When's there? She let the silence stretch. Bridge lights ended. Darkness pressed in. Only my beams carving wet metal ahead. Coming off the span, the street widened, empty as a drained lot. Something rattled behind us, metal clanging sharp against hollow concrete. I didn't check the mirror. Keep going, she said. A metallic click cut through the hum. Backseat, sharp. Her gloved hand rested on her bag, thumb pressed against the zipper pull. For a second I thought she'd open it, but the fingers curled back. Zipper stayed shut. Next right, she said flat. I eased us in. Narrow street. Buildings leaned close, windows dead. One buzzing lamp cast a sick yellow cone. My lights caught wet brick, water dripping from a fire escape. She shifted halfway down. Slow, no, keep going. In the mirror, I caught it. A shadow peeling from a doorway, sliding into the dark behind us. Not a car, not a bike, just moving. You know you're not making this easier, I muttered. Her eyes met mine in the glass. Dark, unreadable. You'll get there. The underpass swallowed us, sound doubling back in echoes. Engine, tires, even my own breath bouncing off concrete. Graffiti slid past in the beams, jagged and half-faded. Midway through, the flash hit again in the rearview. Brighter this time. Reflex had me glance back. Nothing but her, still, fixed on the glowing green digits. You didn't see that? I asked. She blinked once. Slow. No reply. We came out into a street lined with shuttered storefronts. An old theater marquee sagged overhead, letters long gone. One weak lamp buzzed at the curb, throwing light in jerks. Turn here, she said suddenly, pointing to a side road barely wider than an alley. You sure? Yes. I swung in. The cab groaned over uneven brick. Flyers peeled from the walls, damp and chemical scented. At the far end, headlights flicked once, then cut out. I hit the brake, ready to back us out. Her voice cracked sharp. Don't stop. So I didn't. Rolled forward. The spot where the car should have been was empty. Just wet stone and that sour chemical tang. You got someone out here playing games with you? I asked. Her eyes met mine in the mirror, steady. Not with me. The words iced my gut. The alley spat us onto a river road, air carrying a thin edge of salt. A bar's neon glowed faint red across slick asphalt. Left, she whispered, voice breaking. I took it. The bar slid away. No cars, no walkers. Just our tires and the faint hiss of water under the bridge ahead. Take it, she said again. This span was smaller, tighter. Halfway over, her hand went into the bag. This time she gripped something, small, hidden. No tremor now. Then the flash came, outside her window, bright as a camera on the pedestrian path. I caught it in the corner of my eye. She didn't flinch. At the crest, I thought I saw a figure standing against the city glow. Then we turned, and it was gone. She leaned back, spine easing for the first time. Almost there. Good, I muttered, because I should have charged double. Her mouth twitched, a shadow of a smile. Up ahead, another theater crouched in half-dark, bulbs dead, but for a few twitching stragglers. Slow, she said. Then, but don't stop. I rolled past the theater front, sidewalk broken and stained, gum patches black with age. Somewhere inside, a loose sheet of metal banged once, hollow, slow. She touched the handle, but didn't get out. Past the corner, she murmured. We slipped deeper into shadow. One street lamp buzzed weakly, the rest dead. High windows leaked faint silhouettes behind curtains. This it? I asked. Her eyes stayed on the side mirror. I followed her look, just enough to catch movement flicker, gone when I blinked. She cracked the door, then shut it. Circle the block. So I did. Tight turns through brick and iron, streets folding in on themselves. Somewhere behind a gate, a radio played warped Spanish ballads. A cat slipped through trash bags, eyes flashing silver before vanishing. Second pass by the theater, she finally said, Here. I pulled into the shadow just past the doors. She sat still until the meter clicked over. Only then did she unbuckle. The red gloves glowed dull in the lamp's buzz as she adjusted her bag. Door opened. Humid night pressed in. I expected her to slip away quick. Instead, she lingered, eyes on the dark corner like waiting for a signal I couldn't see. You want me to? I started. No. She cut me off. Stay in the car. She stepped out, heels soft on concrete. Moved along the building until shadow swallowed her. I sat with the engine idling. Siren moaned somewhere far, then fell silent. Only sound left was the lamp's buzz and my AC's low thrum. Minutes stretched, long enough for the clock to tick. I was about to kill the meter when the rear view burst white. A sudden flare, sharp, clean, lit the whole back seat like daylight. My gut snapped tight. The seat was empty. I twisted fast. Nothing there. Just the faint sag in the leather where she'd been. Sidewalk clear. No footsteps. No doors. Then I saw it. Middle of the seat. Not dropped. Placed. A key. Heavy brass. Edges worn smooth. Thin tag stamped with the name of a hotel torn down before I ever drove nights. I picked it up. Warm, like it had just left her hand. Street stayed empty. Theater dark. I slid the key into the glove box, shut it. Checked the mirror one last time. Nothing but dead bulbs and the lamp's thin flicker. I put it in gear, rolled off without looking back. River air followed me for 3 blocks, salt threading in through the cracked window. The key sat heavy in my mind, like it hadn't left my palm. Streets ahead stretched hollow, headlights tunneling short. Behind me, the theater faded, gone unless you kept it. I hit a green, didn't touch the brake. The meter was off, but my eyes kept flicking to the dead digits. Waiting. Nothing. Wide Avenue opened. Only the hum of tires filled the cab. Then a pair of headlights cut in fast from a side street. A motorcycle, low, tight, sliced through like it owned the road. Helmet caught the lamp for a blink, color of a summer sky before sunset. That shade of blue. Trouble the last time I saw it, and maybe I'll tell you why on the next ride. If you're still riding with me, come along, subscribe so you don't miss it.